Pennsylvania, the Keystone State. Yet could it also be the keystone to unlocking many of the unknown mysteries? In this show, we'll be discussing all of the haunts, local legends, and unknown phenomena that have happened right here in our very own backyard. I'm your host, Matt Boyer, a senior investigator in the paranormal field.
And I'm Jacob Bacassa, a junior investigator.
And this is Unearthing the Unknown. Over the past few weeks, Jake and I, for the majority of our time here with Unearthing Unknown, have been telling the stories of the spirits of St. Vincent College. But tonight, that's going to change. We're off campus at a different location, here at St. Vincent's Sister School in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. Join me as we tell the stories of the spirits of Seton Hill University. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Unearthing the Unknown. Now, as you can kind of see, we're back on location as we will be telling tonight's story of the spirits of Seton Hill, St. Vincent's Sister School. But, as you can kind of tell, there's no red beanie. Jacob is not with me. He has needed a little bit of a break, so he is right now on vacation, we'll call it, but he will be back. But instead, joining me as a co-host for tonight is a new member of WSVC Radio and a face that you guys will get to know pretty fairly easy over the next couple weeks. The one, the only, Miss Isabella Ruston.
Hello, hi.
So, Isabella just joined WSVC. You will be seeing her along with me as we'll be bringing a new show coming soon. Yins are on the go, talking about all kinds of travel destinations in the greater Pittsburgh area and elsewhere.
Yes.
So,
then make sure to tune in for that one.
Especially, and I know you've been up in the air about it, but one way or another it's happening. Yins are on the go. We'll be live with Bearcat Buzz this Sunday, Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, for the annual trek of the Inner Circle to see Phil. So, a lot of fun. I mean, it's the biggest party of the year, so a lot of fun. But we are not talking groundhogs, even though that is a interesting urban legend. So that might be a future episode with Bacassa. But instead, we are actually here. So we're in front of one of the older buildings here on campus to tell a few of the different stories. So ask any questions that you want to.
Okay, I'll do my best.
That's pretty much what Bacassa does for the most part. But just a little bit of background history. So like I said, Seton Hill is St. Vincent's Sister School. Now, this was actually founded about 40 years after St. Vincent was founded. So we were founded in 1846. Seton Hill was founded in 1885 by the Sisters of Charity as a facility for women, named after Elizabeth Ann Seton, who was born 1774, died 1821, who founded the Sisters of Charity, and whose after death was canonized as the United States' first native-born saint. Interesting. But this is not history. That is for Stephen and Leo. So instead, there's actually... let me ask you this first. How many ghost stories do you think are going to be associated with this campus?
I feel like there's going to be a pretty good amount, honestly.
Bingo. There's actually a lot of different stories. And when researching this, I was actually surprised. We did about 7 or 8 shows just on the ghost stories of St. Vincent. So doing Seton Hill, I probably could do multiple episodes on it, but we're actually just going to combine them in one because Jake and I will be expanding to other stuff. So there is actually one building in particular that has a lot of different stories of paranormal, and that is the administrative building. Now, you and I actually passed the admin coming up here to campus. What happened is the following story. It's said to be haunted by a poltergeist. Now, there's different levels of spirits. And I know Jacob would be asking about this too. Regular ghosts or spirits could be visible. They could not be visible. It's really up to them. A poltergeist is a spirit that has the energy and the ability to actually move things. So, like right behind us, there's a little bit of a swing that's moving a little bit. That is from the wind. That is not...
Just from the wind.
Just from the wind. The poltergeists, for the most part, are ones that can be able to open and close doors, move bookcases, all kinds of stuff like that. It is. They are interesting to work with. When I've done different investigations, Jacob and I might encounter one in the near future that is in one of the buildings at St. Vincent. Yay.
Don't tell me that. I didn't know that one.
Oh, I'm not telling you what building either. Just get used to Jenny from Benny, because you got to watch that episode, because we told that story.
Great. I love it.
Anyhow, so the poltergeist is known for opening filing cabinets, scattering papers throughout a particular office, switching on and off lights, chairs been rolling across the floor and down the hallway. They've also been hearing footsteps, but no one could be in the building. So let's say there's only one person in the building and they're hearing footsteps and they go out, no one's there, so nothing like that. They are also hearing disembodied voices. Usually it's older women voices, and it's because this was for a lot of the nuns. So you would have a staff where there are a lot of sisters hearing their voices kind of as they're still walking through. And at times, they will be calling out the voices of people who work in the building.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would quit on the spot if that happened to me.
I have actually had something happen to that degree where a spirit has called my name. Both one time that I was able to hear, that I told in one of the previous episodes about my first major investigation. Pretty much what happened is my grandma, who's been dead for, well, this was 2019, so she had been dead for 10 years. I heard her voice for the first time in 10 years. Yeah, very creepy. But also we do have equipment that we can talk with spirits. So disembodied voices are a little bit different than when working with the actual equipment, such as a phasma box, which you can then communicate with spirit with. So a lot of different things happening there in the admin building. Another interesting story with this is that in the early 1900s, an elderly sister fell asleep in the basement of the mother house here on campus. Now, used as the administration building was the mother house now, and a custodian found her down in the basement, kind of lying there, and he thought she was dead. So there was an immediate burial. They boxed her up, they crated her, and buried her. She was not dead.
Yep.
She was still alive. So what happens? She wakes up, she's in this rough pine box, and she's banging to try and hope that somebody hears her, but she's 6 feet under. She's out in the cemetery by this point.
Worst fear.
Yeah, it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
It's pretty awful way to die. So she ultimately did die in the box. So
We need to sage this campus.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, still to this day, if you are in the admin building late at night, and if you're down around the basement, there's a very good chance you could still hear the banging of what sounds like the sister banging from inside her casket, wanting to be let out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And you said this was in the administrative building?
This was the administrative building. So, not that one. It's kind of like a little more that way.
Okay.
But, yeah. I believe so. At least admissions there. I don't believe that's the admin building anymore.
Somewhere behind.
Yeah, it's behind us. It's behind us. It is the administration building. So that was the first building that when you first come up the hill that you kind of saw there.
Yeah.
But yeah. Because that was also, like I said, where the church is kind of connected. So that would have been the full mother house area. But yeah, so with that, this is also where the poltergeist is. So could one of the sisters, or could this also be the same sister that's messing with the staff? We don't know. Could be an investigation for the future. Now, not only is it the admin building, a lot of the buildings here are newer, and unlike St. Vincent, Seton Hill was not built on top of an orphanage, Native American burial grounds, and a cemetery. They do have a cemetery, though, and we will get to that. A lot of the buildings are newer, so there's not as many stories. However, there are a few of the buildings here that actually have a lot of interesting. So, Brownlee Residence Hall. Students have reported a mysterious purple light being emulated out of nowhere, appearing in the corner of a dorm room on the first floor. Also been reported that the shadow of a girl who has allegedly hung herself many years ago in her room can be seen on the wall across from the room where it supposedly happened. So just imagine being in that room across from where she died, and you just see, like, up in the shadow or something on your wall, just an image of a girl hanging there.
Imagine you're the unlucky person to live in that room.
Absolutely. Or even being in the room where she died. Because, as we did kind of talk about, you don't know this because you haven't seen the show.
Yeah.
Shame. Rating somebody who's never even seen the show yet. What was I thinking? Anyhow, with that, 7th floor of Aurelius is haunted because of the possibility of somebody who died up there. Now, granted, 7th floor of Aurelius is no longer used for housing, but it was for a while after the fire that possibly killed somebody. We don't know. A lot of different stories. Check it out if you haven't seen that story of Aurelius Hall. So yeah, you can see this ghost. Now, also, not just is it a shadow at times, but people have also reported seeing a shadow figure of a young girl on that floor, especially hanging around that room, whether it's in the room or not. So we are now having... We're good.
my
my
God.
God.
It wasn't the paranormal, it's just the wind.
Oh no, this could absolutely. I mean, Jake and I did this last week where the camera died on us,
Oh my God.
and we said that it was actually the ghost that was messing with it. It is just the wind.
Just the wind, guys.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. So, shadow figure could be also the same girl. Now, going back to the purple light, any idea what that could be?
No idea.
Okay, so this is actually a fun thing because this is something that most people would not be thinking about,
Yeah.
but it is one of the most obvious things. It's most likely just an orb.
Right.
Now, an orb can be spirit activity. That it usually is some kind of spirit that is not able to take on some kind of human features, being able to have that kind of human shape, but they are still coming in some kind of visible form. And they could just be passing through, or who knows. But very interesting with that. Now, Brownlee's also not the only residence hall. There is another residence hall. Mara Hall seems, from what it says, that sleeping arrangements there are known to have different hauntings. The residence building dates back to 1908, and within its walls, the spirits of old teaching nuns have been reported roaming its corridors and seen as apparitions. So these are visible apparitions. It doesn't say whether it's full body or just half body. They come in all different forms. But people have been able to see kind of like that glowish green, white, gray, blue. That's kind of like a mix of everything of these nuns. Some even with the old rulers as they're about to go and whack somebody for doing something stupid. But they've been seen roaming the halls and in the rooms.
So do we know if they're like, nice nuns, bad nuns?
I've never done an investigation here. For the most part, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Just because I have not heard of very much bad activity. And for the most part, paranormal spirits, everybody thinks, oh, they're bad, demonic, blah, blah, blah. No. A lot of them actually do work in the light. I work only in the light when it comes to spirit. If I have to work in the dark, I will, but we try and stay away from all demonic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Love and light is the name of the game here. So, yeah, they are seen there. And then also the main parking lot here at Seton Hill. I don't know which parking lot that would be, whether that's the one we parked in tonight or where, because there's like a million of them.
Yeah, there's.
It's said that there is a ghost of a priest who has been seen crossing the main lot during evening hours. So it is nighttime. Maybe when we're driving here, we're going to see some kind of figure. I love the dog in the background. So a lot of different things like that, seeing the priest. Now, like I said earlier, right behind Seton Hill is the cemetery.
Yes.
So, of course, you're always going to get different stories. Cemetery at Seton Hill's campus, woman reported witnessing a ghostly figure cross through the graveyard. The woman stopped her car to allow this person the right of way to cross the road in front of Brownlee Hall, but when the driver motioned the figure to cross, she disappeared into the fog. The purported female phantom could be the spirit of any of the cemeteries interred, of whom 785 people that are buried there are nuns. So,
Wow, that is crazy.
Graveyard was planned and laid out in 1889 when Seton Hill Mother House was completed, and it's the final resting place of Seton Hill Sisters of Charity, the founders of the university, all the past presidents, and several other notable priests, laymen, and lay women. A little boy is playing with a ball and occasionally running like someone is chasing him, screaming all the while. So this is kind of also like Jenny from Benny, where she is up on the 5th floor playing with the ball, wanting somebody to play, and acting like a little kid. Another tale of a woman who stops traffic on the road so she can cross or hitch a ride, but when the driver brakes and looks for her, she has already disappeared into the fog. Also reported spotted in the college graveyard are the spirits of sisters gone and buried who once lived at Seton Hill, along with some EVPs. So, a lot of different things. There is also... Okay, so... this one here says there's no child buried in this cemetery, but some claim that the ghost of a child of a nun who kept her condition and subsequent birth a secret before sending the child away for adoption has also been seen looking for their mother in the graveyard.
What a scandal, too.
It's the Catholic Church. Happens all the time. I'm kidding. It doesn't... Well, back in the day, yes. Today, not as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have men buried in it. 3 male... burials: Monsignor William Granger, Ryan, Reverend Daniel R. Sullivan, Reverend J.A. Reeves, were former presidents. They have all been seen. Many different people all around. So there are actually a few different stories here that are all very, very interesting. Now, for any of our friends here at our sister school, you guys have a lot that you get to kind of experience if you are so lucky. I'm waiting to see if the ghost priest.
Yeah, someone's walking around.
We got a lot of people walking around us, so it's just okay. You got to watch out the back of your eye, if there's some kind of shadow.
Right. So you've never done any investigations up here?
Not here. I've mainly focused only on St. Vincent. Might have to come back here once it's definitely warmer. I can tell are shivering. I am cold.
Shaking.
I am literally cold too. My hands are already pretty much red and frozen. Any other questions that you might have so far?
No, it's very interesting. Very much.
I know this is not much your cup of tea. You're more towards like the travel idea, right?
I like the paranormal. I just like, this is my first episode.
I know.
Dumb,
you gotta get used to it to ask the questions, right?
Yeah.
But with that, really very interesting place because of the connection it does have with St. Vincent. Many people this is kind of not paranormal, but it is also kind of other legends, and we do talk about them here. There's legend. St. Vincent's known for the famous tunnels underneath the college. And there was a rumor for a long time that there was a tunnel that spanned from St. Vincent to Seton Hill. That is not true. It would be a gigantic, long tunnel. There's no way that you could build a tunnel for 12 miles away to here and nobody knows about it.
Never.
Nobody. It's just not. Unless the tunnel is the dank sewage system or something.
God.
That's the only thing. I mean, 12 miles between St.
That
Vincent
is ridiculously long.
Yeah. I doubt that anybody could actually build that and it still be a secret.
Yeah.
From any time.
Yeah.
A lot of other interesting things just because of the cemetery, all of the religious stories that have come from it. For the most part, there aren't as many bad religious stories like what we've had at St. Vincent's, but probably because, the nuns are a little bit better than the priests when it comes to all kinds of weird things happening.
Yes.
Really, I don't have anything else. This is kind of a shorter episode. I know that I'm just kind of really spouting off from my research there. I wish that I would have had time, but I had, side note, but just kind of funny, I had a funeral I was at today, so I cannot... Exactly. God rest his soul. I won't get into it, but no time to do any kind of quick paranormal, and I actually also forgot my K2 meter, so I couldn't have that to kind of have it be lighting up or anything.
But you can feel the activity here, sure. It's very historic here.
I feel the activity of the wind freezing my hands.
I'm numb at this point.
Yeah, no, definitely. I have talked with a buddy of mine who does go to Seton Hill, and he has said being here late at night, and depending where you're at, he has said he might be alone or only with one other person, but they've never felt like they're alone, as if there is somebody or something that's been around
here. Yeah.
So really, especially when you get down below here onto the hillside and out where it's kind of open, and also back towards the cemetery or back by Brownlee Hall.
Yeah.
Very, very high possibility that there is some kind of activity, or whether it's coming onto the campus or not.
Right.
A lot of different stuff going on.
You'll definitely have to do an investigation here.
You have to do an investigation here.
Yeah.
The only issue is the buddy of mine lives off campus.
Just bring him
commutes.
Whatever.
So, I mean, I gotta make more friends here just so I can take over their...
Yeah, you can do that.
Because I don't know how the school would feel about me taking over the admin building and doing an investigation. I can't even get St. Vincent to let me do that.
Yeah.
But with that comes to the end of the episode. I know it's kind of a little bit more boring than some of the other ones. We will be back next week. Picasso will be back. You will be seeing Izzy, like I said, in the new show. So look out for that. And not really sure if we're going to keep going with ghost stories or if we are going to expand to some other stuff. I know Jake and I are talking about doing a couple trips, doing some more local lore. Bigfoot, Pennsylvania Thunderbird, much more coming your guys' way. The Kecksburg Acorn UFO. Can't talk tonight, but a lot more stuff coming along, so stay tuned for all that stuff. But until then, I'm Matt Boyer.
I'm Isabella Ruston.
We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Hey there, listeners. I'm Matt Boyer, station manager of WSVC Radio. If you like what you're listening to, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to be notified with all of our updates. Every day, one of our shows will be releasing a new episode. Stick around and tune in.